Hello students. So in this video we are going to discuss the concept of provisioning. In various of my previous video I am using the concept of provisioning but without explaining it into detail. Now in this video we will try to understand the concept of provisioning. So now let's take the example of a bank whose balance sheet is looks something like this. That is, capital and surplus is 100 rupees, deposit is 1100 rupees, advances is 1000, cash balance is 200, and total again 1200. That is, total assets 1200, total capital and liability is 1200. Now there is a income statement of a bank. Some income would be there, some expenditure which is including provisions and other things would be expenditure. The net profit will come here. Okay. Now whatever the net profit would be, that would be either given as a dividend to the people, or it will be goes as a capital and surplus, part of become a capital and surplus, that is equity shareholder fund. Now let's say there is an advances of total advance value is 1000 rupees. It may be some people have been given 10, let's say it is 1000 crore rupees, and it's a total loan which bank has given to the various borrower. Now let's say few borrowers default. Okay, that means they are not paying back the advances, they are not paying back the loan to the bank. So now there is a no chance of recovery. Let's say the situation is like this, where there is no chance of recovery at all. So now in this case what would happen? In this case, banks in a way, banks 100 rupees of a loan is wiped out from its balance sheet. So its balance sheet now, advance in its balance sheet would be 900 in place of 1000 rupees. Now total asset value will fall to 1100 rupees. Now what would happen towards the capital liability side? This is also has to be 1100 rupees. If you remember your prelim accounting, so you know that all the loss will be absorbed by the capital and surplus. Now this total, capital and surplus will be 0. Now total net worth of the bank is 0, and total capital and liability would be 1100. So now what this type of balance sheet is telling you? Now basically total asset in the bank is 1100 rupees. Now asset is nothing but on which bank has a claim. Bank can earn something from those things. Okay, that is asset, that is total 1100 rupees of asset bank is having, but his capital liability is also 1100 rupees. That is, bank has to pay back this number of money to the people. But here bank, there is no owner of the bank, because bank is not liable to pay anything to the owner, because its capital and surplus is 0. So this type of situation, we can say that bank is getting insolvent. Bank is not able to sustain itself, because now let's say a next default will happen. Let's say in place of 100, let's say default of 200 will happen. Then there would be only 800 rupees of advances left, and your capital and surplus will become negative 100 rupees. Okay, in that case, in a way, what you are saying, that bank will not be able to pay its depositor fully. So now this is the problem with the bank, and why this is problem? And this problem is peculiar with the bank. Although I would not say the peculiar with the bank, but bank is at very risky end in terms of getting this type of a problem, because bank's capital is very small compared to the total capital and liability. Whereas in most of the non-banking company, you will not find this type of scenario. Now, what is the provisions to avoid this type of situation where bank's net worth is getting 0? Now, what you will do, or what as per the regulator, what the bank has to do, they have to create a one provisions. They have to create some amount of provision, that is 100 rupees of provision they will already create, which will going to absorb all of the losses which is coming. Okay, for example, in this case, if there is a default of 100 rupees, now your provisions will become 0, your capital and surplus will remain the 100 rupees. Now this provisions is becoming 0. Now there may be two questions which should come into your mind. One is how this provision is created, from where the money will come to create this provision. Other question is, if the default is happen more than 100 rupees and provision is not able to absorb that loss, then what would happen? The situation will be as if in the previous slide, that capital and surplus will reduce. So I will going to answer both of these questions. Now let's understand how the provisions are created in the first place. Okay, so whatever the company will earn, that is 500 rupees they have earned, this is an expenditure of 400 rupees. I am including the tax as well, tax as also as a part of the in the expenditure only. Now whatever they will get, that is 100 rupees will they get, but out of those 100 they will create a provisions. Now provisions would be created of 50 rupees. Now these provisions they would create, and where these provisions will go? This provision will go and will come here. it will come here. Now that is whatever profit bank is earning, out of that certain amount of money will go and become a part of provision, and the rest of the part, that is this 50 rupees, will become a part of your capital and surplus. So this is what the how the provisions are created. Now I think it is clear to you how the provisions are created. Now let me before giving the answer how this how much amount of these provisions are created, how this is decided, the amount for which the provisions has to be created. Let us understand the asset classification. That will also give you the answer in case there is a loss greater than 100 rupees, there is a loss on advance greater than 100 rupees, how the provision going to absorb that thing. Okay, so now let's understand the asset classification. Then asset classification only determine how much provision should be created. Now let's say there's a whenever if you taken a loan, if you have taken a loan and a bank has given to you a loan, and you are paying your installment regularly at a time when you need to pay those installments. Now in that case, because loan which the bank has given is an asset for the bank, in that case that asset would be classified as a standard asset. That is a standard asset, everything is working fine. Now let's say uh, an installment is due on 1st of January, okay, but till 90 days, that is approximately 31st of March would be 90 days, or to be precise it should be, I think yes, it should be 31st of March would be the 19th day. Now till the 19th day your installment is due on this day 1st of January, but till the 90 day you have not paid, or you have paid partially. Okay, that is you need to pay to the bank 1000 rupees, but you have paid only 800, 900, 500 rupees. So in that case, till this time, that is due installment is due on 1st of January till 31st of March, that is approximately 90 days. In fact, it would be, I think, precisely 90 days if it is not a leap year. So your asset would be classified into the bank account, not your asset. Bank's asset would be classified as a standard asset. That is, your loan would be classified as a standard asset in your bank account, even if you are defaulting for 90 days. As soon as 90 days will happen, and for most of the cases it is 90 days, and for agriculture loan it's a different time duration. After the 90 days, I will take it as a 90 days. If your default continue, your asset will be converted into NPA, non-performing asset. It will be classified into as a non-performing asset. Now there is a further segregation of non-performing asset, which is something like this. That is, first from 31st March, let's say it's 2017, till next year 31st March 2017, it would be substandard asset. If you have not settled all the claim, that is all the repayment has not been done, then it would be classified as a substandard asset for next 12 months, starting from March 2017 to 31st March 2018. Now even after that, default is continued, then your asset will become a part of your doubtful asset. Okay, your asset will become a part of your doubtful asset. Now it will remain a doubtful asset till the time, bank will not take any review. Okay, so if banks take a review that there is no chances to recover this doubtful asset, then it will become a part of, or there is very less chance to convert this doubtful asset, then this asset will become a loss asset. Still it would be into the balance sheet of the bank. It will not be removed from the balance sheet of a bank till it is a loss asset. So after the loss asset, if bank is totally hopeless, then it will be removed from the balance sheet, the scenario which I have discussed. Now when it is a loss asset, when bank RBI auditor says, or there is a no solvency value but it is not written off. So this is how the asset classification into the bank's balance sheet is done. So now how the provisions are decided, depending upon the asset lies in which type of category, you create the provisions. For example, if assets lies in loss category, asset lies in loss category, then there will be 100% provision would be created. For example, there is a bank has given a loan of rupees 1 crore to someone. Now that person is not or that loan is into the loss category, 1 crore of loan is into the loss category. In that case, this 1 crore, again this 1 crore of a loan, bank will create 1 crore of provision into its balance sheet. Now I think you are getting the idea. In case 1 crore is defaulted, then that provisions will take care of that thing. Similarly, if it is a doubtful asset and this is an unsecured loan, that is no collateral is being taken while giving this loan, again you will create a 100% of provisions for that loan. Similarly, doubtful asset secured portion, and it's doubtful for less than 1 year, 25% is a provision, and so on. So now this is an example. For example, I am just one example to fit the idea in our mind. If company has a loan of rupees 100 crores which is secured and is under the doubtful category for less than 1 year, then you have to create a 25 crore rupees of provisions. So now you are seeing that as the chances of defaulted are increasing, your provision size is also decreasing. Okay, so as the chances that loan will be goes out from the balance sheet, your provision size accordingly will increase. For example, if there is a loss, then there is 100% of provision, so that all the money will be absorbed by that provisions only. So this is the concept of provision. I think it is clear to you. And now this is a simple balance sheet of a bank. I will just quickly go through the balance sheet of a bank, although not that much of a necessary thing, but yeah, you can look at this balance sheet of a bank, and every entry should be understood by you. Okay, so I'm just pausing it, and you can look at this balance sheet further. Here you can see that there is the various type of reserves. Okay, these reserves are nothing but part of your reserve and surplus. Okay, so this is for example schedule number 2 in a balance sheet. If you look at the annual statement of a bank, so you will look at there is a balance sheet, and in the balance sheet itself this is schedule, and below this balance sheet you will find the schedule, what are the entry into these schedules. So these are various type of reserve which the bank is having. Similarly, there is a profit and loss statement account. Again, you can look at this figure. Now this is about the provisions, and I think everything should be clear about the provision. Now we are going to study about the risk into the banking system.